First contact gone wrong. The massive alien warship emerged from hyperspace, its sleek form casting an ominous shadow over Earth's orbital defense platforms. On the bridge of the CSS Defiant, Admiral Sarah Chen felt her throat tighten as she gazed at the behemoth through the viewscreen. This was humanity's first contact with an alien species, and it was not going as anyone had hoped. Status report, Chen barked, her eyes never leaving the alien vessel. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel's fingers danced across his console. The alien ship is holding position just outside our defensive perimeter. No response to our hails so far. Wait. Patel's voice trailed off as new data scrolled across his screen. Admiral, we're detecting massive energy buildups across their hull. I think they're charging weapons. Chen's mind raced. This couldn't be happening. Humanity had dreamed of this moment for centuries, and now it was turning into a nightmare. Sound General Quarters, she ordered, her voice steady despite the fear churning in her gut. And get me a direct line to Central Command. We need tow. Her words were cut off as the alien ship unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, their beams slicing through Earth's defensive screens, but they weren't even there. Alarms blared throughout the Defiant as the ship rocked under the assault. Multiple orbital platforms destroyed. Patel shouted over the din. New York, Beijing, and London are reporting impacts. They're targeting our major population centers. Chen gripped her command chair, her knuckles white. Return fire. All batteries, concentrate on their weapon emplacements, and scramble every fighter we've got. We need to buy time for the civilian evacuations. As the space around Earth erupted into chaos, the alien ship's communications array finally crackled to life. A face appeared on the viewscreen, vaguely humanoid, but with iridescent purple skin and 4 glowing eyes. When it spoke, its words were translated into a metallic, emotionless English. Humans of Earth, the alien intoned. I am Queen Zara of the Vardoxian Empire. Your planet now belongs to us. Surrender, and you may live as our slaves. Resist, and you will be exterminated. Chen's response was succinct and decidedly undiplomatic. Go to hell, she snarled, cutting the transmission. As the battle raged in orbit, Dr. Elias Reeves huddled in his underground laboratory, thousands of miles from the conflict. The xenobiologist had spent his entire career preparing for this moment, studying the theoretical biology of alien life. Now, as he watched grainy footage of the attack on a battered viewscreen, he felt a mixture of terror and excitement. This is it, Sarah, he murmured to his AI assistant. Everything we've worked for. If we can just get a sample of their biology, maybe we can find a weakness. The A's holographic form flickered to life beside him. Dr. Reeves, the chances of acquiring such a sample in the current circumstances are approximately 0.24%. Elias grinned, a manic glint in his eye. Never tell me the odds, Sarah. We're going to save the world, you and I. We just need to think outside the box. Back in orbit, the situation was growing dire. Earth's defenses were crumbling under the relentless Vardoxian assault. Admiral Chen watched in horror as another of her ships, the CSS Intrepid, erupted into a ball of flame. Admiral, Poto called out, his voice strained. We're detecting a massive energy buildup in the alien ship. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. If they fire that weapon... Chen closed her eyes, steeling herself. They were out of options. Initiate Protocol Omega, she said softly. Petal's eyes widened. But sir, that's... I know what it is, Commander. Do it. With trembling hands, Patel entered the authorization codes. Deep within the Defiant, a special weapon of Earth's own making hummed to life. It was a last resort, untested and potentially catastrophic, but it was their only hope. As the Vardoxian superweapon prepared to fire, the Defiant unleashed its secret weapon. A wave of coruscating energy erupted from the human ship, engulfing the alien vessel. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, with a sound that defied description, a rift in space-time itself tore open, swallowing both ships in an instant. Admiral Chen's last thought before the void claimed her was a prayer that they had done enough to save Earth. In the eerie silence that followed, the remnants of Earth's fleet regrouped, trying to make sense of what had just happened. The Vardoxian ship was gone, along with the Defiant, but at what cost? On the planet's surface, in his underground lab, Dr. Reeves watched the sensor readings with growing excitement. "Sarah," he breathed, "are you seeing this? The dimensional rift, it's left traces. Quantum particles we've only theorized about. This changes everything." As humanity began to pick up the pieces in the wake of the attack, no one realized that the true battle was just beginning. Somewhere beyond normal space and time, Admiral Chen and Queen Zara found themselves thrown together, enemies united by extraordinary circumstances. Their journey would reshape the destiny of both their species and challenge everything they thought they knew about the universe. The stage was set for an adventure that would span galaxies, push the boundaries of science, and test the very limits of what it means to be human. For in the face of an implacable alien threat, humanity would need to dig deep, unlocking potential they never knew they had. The war for Earth had only just begun. Quantum entanglement. The void between dimensions pulsed with otherworldly energy, a cascade of impossible colors swirling around the battered forms of the CSS, Defiant and the Vardoxian warship. Inside the human vessel, Admiral Sarah Chen groaned, her head throbbing as she regained consciousness. The bridge was eerily silent, emergency lighting casting long shadows across motionless crew members. "Status report," Chen croaked, pulling herself to her feet. No response came. She stumbled to the nearest console, her eyes widening as she took in the readings. "Impossible," she whispered. According to the ship's sensors, they were everywhere and nowhere at once. Quantum fluctuations danced across the screen, defying all known laws of physics. Chen's mind raced. The dimensional rift weapon had worked, but not in any way they had anticipated. A flicker of movement caught her eye. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel stirred, letting out a low moan. "Admiral," he mumbled. "What happened? Where are we?" Before Chen could respond, a blinding light filled the bridge. When it faded, a shimmering figure stood before them, humanoid in shape, but composed of pure energy. Its voice resonated directly in their minds. "Greetings, children of Earth," the being intoned. "I am Zephyr, keeper of the quantum realm. Your actions have breached the barriers between realities, and now the fate of multiple universes hangs in the balance." Chen's military training kicked in, overriding her awe. "We had no choice," she said firmly. "The Vardoxians were going to destroy Earth. We—" Zephyr raised a hand, cutting her off. "The motivations behind your actions are irrelevant. What matters now is that you have inadvertently set in motion events that could unravel the very fabric of existence. Both you and your Vardoxian adversaries must work together to restore the cosmic balance." As if on cue, a shimmering portal appeared on the bridge. Through it stumbled Queen Zara herself, her regal bearing somewhat diminished by the confusion evident in her 4 eyes. "What trickery is this?" Zara hissed, her tentacles writhing in agitation. "Where have you brought us humans?" Chen's hand instinctively went to her sidearm, but Zephyr's energy form pulsed warningly. "Violence here will only hasten the collapse of reality," the being warned. "You must overcome your differences and cooperate, or all will be lost." Zephyr waved an arm, and a holographic display sprang to life between the humans and the Vardoxian queen. It showed multiple Earths, multiple Vardoxian homeworlds, all connected by pulsing lines of energy. "The weapon you unleash has created quantum entanglement on a cosmic scale," Zephyr explained. "Every action in one reality now ripples across all others. The paradox is this creates a tearing apart the multiverse. You must journey to the nexus point and stabilize the quantum flux, or every version of your civilizations will cease to exist." Chen and Zara exchanged wary glances. The concept of working with the alien who had just tried to enslave humanity was abhorrent to the Admiral, yet the stakes were clear. "How do we even begin to accomplish something like that?" Potil asked, voicing the question on everyone's mind. Zephyr's form shimmered. You must learn to harness the power of the quantum realm itself. Your ship and the Vardoxian vessel have been altered by your journey here. They are now capable of navigating the spaces between realities. But beware, the laws of physics as you know them do not apply here. You will face challenges beyond your wildest imagination. With that ominous warning, Zephyr vanished, leaving the uneasy allies to contemplate their fate. Back on Earth, or at least one version of it, Dr. Elias Reeves was making a breakthrough. The quantum particles left behind by the dimensional rift had unlocked new avenues of research. His lab hummed with activity as he and his AI assistant, Zara, worked feverishly. "We've done it," Elias exclaimed, his eyes wild with excitement. "Sarah, initiate the quantum entanglement protocol." The A's holographic form flickered with concern. "Dr. Reeves, the risks of this experiment are incalculable. We could inadvertently—" "We don't have a choice," Elias cut her off. "The Vardoxians could return any moment. This is our only chance to develop a defense that could actually work against them." As Elias activated the device, a surge of energy pulsed through the lab. For a brief moment, he saw everything. Every possible version of himself, every Earth, every outcome of the war with the Vardoxians. The knowledge was overwhelming, threatening to tear his mind apart. In the quantum realm, alarms blared aboard the Defiant. "Massive spike in quantum fluctuations," Plato reported. "It's coming from Earth." Chen and Zara rushed to the view screen, watching in horror as cracks began to form in the very fabric of reality around them. "What have your people done?" Zara demanded, her voice a mix of fear and fury. Chen had no answer. She could only watch as the multiverse began to unravel around them, the consequences of humanity's desperate actions rippling across all of existence. As reality itself threatened to dissolve, the unlikely allies faced their greatest challenge yet. They would need to master the laws of quantum physics, navigate the treacherous quantum realm, and find a way to work together despite their deep-seated animosity. The fate of not just one Earth, but every Earth hung in the balance. And somewhere in the cracks between realities, ancient forces stirred, forces that saw the chaos unfolding and sensed an opportunity. The stage was set for a reality-warping adventure that would challenge everything both humans and Vardoxians thought they knew about the universe, themselves, and each other. In the quantum realm, with the multiverse collapsing around them, they would be forced to confront not just external threats, but the very nature of their own existence. The battle for reality itself had begun, echoes of infinity. The quantum realm shimmered with fractal patterns of impossible geometry as the CSS Defiant and the Vardoxian warship navigated its treacherous currents. On the bridge of the human vessel, Admiral Sarah Chen gazed out at the swerving chaos, her mind struggling to process the sights before her. "Status report, Mr. Potil," she ordered, forcing herself to focus on the task at hand. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel's fingers danced across his console, coaxing coherent data from the ship's quantum-entangled sensors. "We're detecting multiple timeline convergences, Admiral," he reported, his voice tight with concentration. "It's like echoes of every possible future are bleeding through into our reality." Queen Zara, the Vardoxian leader, hissed in frustration. "Your primitive technology is useless here, humans. We need to tap into the quantum flux directly if we hope to navigate this realm." Chen bristled at the alien's tone, but couldn't deny the truth in her words. "What do you propose, Your Majesty?" she asked, the honorific dripping with sarcasm. Before Zara could respond, a shimmering portal tore open in the center of the bridge. Through it stumbled a figure that made both human and Vardoxian alike gasp in shock. It was Dr. Elias Reeves, or at least a version of him. This Reeves was older, his hair streaked with gray, his eyes haunted by horrors unimaginable. "Thank the quantum gods," the alternate Reeves breathed. "I found you at last." Chen's hand instinctively went to her sidearm. Identify yourself, she demanded. The older Reeves held up his hands in a placating gesture. I'm Dr. Elias Reeves, but not the one you know. I come from a timeline where we failed to stop the collapse of the multiverse. I've spent lifetimes searching for this moment, this confluence of realities where we might still have a chance. As if to underscore his words, the ship shuddered violently. Outside the viewscreen, they watched in horror as entire galaxies blinked out of existence, consumed by encroaching void. The quantum nexus, Alternate Reeves explained urgently. It's the keystone holding all realities together. In my timeline, it was destroyed, but here now we have a chance to save it. Zora's tentacles writhed with agitation. And why should we trust you, human? This could be a trick. Alternate Reeves fixed the Vardoxian queen with a weary gaze. Because in my reality, your majesty, you and I spent our final years working together to try and undo the damage. I watched you sacrifice yourself to buy us more time. We became friends. The admission hung in the air, heavy with implications. Chen and Zara exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. Whatever their differences, the stakes were too high for distrust. What do we need to do? Chen asked, her voice filled with determination. Alternate Reeves' expression grew grim. We need to harness the power of quantum entanglement on a cosmic scale. Your ships, they're already linked across realities. We can use that as a foundation, but we'll need more. He turned to Zara. Your Majesty, the Vardoxian hive mind, it's the key. If we can link it to the quantum network, we can create a stabilizing force powerful enough to reinforce the nexus. Zara recoiled. You asked me to open the collective consciousness of my entire species to this? She gestured at the swirling chaos beyond the ship. I'm asking you to save every version of your people across all realities, Alternate Reeves countered softly. As the group debated their options, a new threat emerged. The viewscreen crackled with static before revealing a face that made Alternate Reeves pale with recognition. No, he whispered. Not here. Not now. The being on the screen defied easy description. It seemed to shift and change with every moment, as if it were every possible version of itself all at once. When it spoke, its voice resonated with the power of collapsing stars. I am Omega, it intoned. The end of all things. You seek to preserve that which must fall. Entropy is inevitable. The multiverse has grown bloated with possibilities. It must be pruned. Chen stepped forward, her voice steady despite her fear. We'll stop you, she declared. Omega's laughter shook the very foundations of reality. You are but motes of dust in the cosmic wind. I am eternal. I am inevitable. The transmission cut off, but the threat remained. Alternate Reeves turned to the group, his eyes blazing with desperate intensity. We don't have much time, he urged. Omega is a being of pure quantum potential. It seeks to collapse all realities into a single, perfect timeline. We must reach the nexus before it does. Chen nodded sharply. Patel, set a course. Your Majesty, she turned to Zara. We'll need the full power of your ship and your hive mind if we're going to pull this off. As the unlikely allies prepared for the greatest challenge of their lives, or any lives across the multiverse, Alternate Reeves felt a glimmer of hope. This was the moment he had sought across countless realities. The variables were aligning. They had a chance. The CSS Defiant and the Vardoxian warship surged forward, reality itself bending around them as they raced towards the quantum nexus. In their wake, galaxies flickered like candles in a cosmic wind, entire civilizations hanging in the balance. At the heart of the quantum realm, the nexus pulsed with the combined energy of all possible futures, and converging upon it from every corner of the multiverse were the forces of Omega, the Great Destroyer. The stage was set for a battle that would determine the fate of not just one universe, but all universes. Human and Vardoxian, present and future, all would be tested in the crucible of quantum chaos. As they plunged deeper into the unknown, Admiral Chen allowed herself a grim smile. Humanity had always dreamed of reaching the stars. Now they were fighting to save them all. The quantum nexus awaited, and with it, the final confrontation that would shape the destiny of all reality. Singularity's edge. The CSS Defiant and the Vardoxian warship hurtled through the quantum foam, reality bending and twisting around them as they approached the nexus. On the bridge, Admiral Sarah Chen, Queen Zara, and the alternate Dr. Elias Reeds worked feverishly to prepare for the confrontation that would decide the fate of all existence. Quantum fluctuations are off the charts. Lieutenant Commander Raj Patel shouted over the din of alarms. We're experiencing temporal dissonance. Past, present, and future are bleeding together. As if to underscore his words, ghostly echoes of other timelines began to flicker across the bridge. Chen saw herself as a child, as an old woman, as someone who had never joined the military at all. Zara's form shifted between various stages of Vardoxian evolution, her current self merely one point on a vast continuum of possibility. Alternate Rees gripped the console, his knuckles white. We're approaching the edge of the singularity. Beyond this point, the laws of physics as we know them cease to exist entirely. Chen took a deep breath, centering herself amidst the chaos. All hands, brace for transition. The ships plunged into the heart of the quantum nexus, and for a moment that stretched into eternity, everything simply stopped. When awareness returned, they found themselves in a realm beyond comprehension. The nexus itself was a swirling vortex of pure possibility, strands of timeline and alternate realities weaving together into a tapestry of infinite complexity. And there, at the center of it all, was Omega. The entity's true form was revealed now, a being of pure quantum potential. It shifted and changed with every nanosecond, embodying every possible version of itself across all realities. When it spoke, its voice resonated through the very fabric of existence. "You are too late," Omega boomed. "The collapse has begun. All realities will be condensed into one perfect timeline, my timeline." Tendrils of void began to creep across the quantum landscape, erasing entire universes with each passing moment. Chen watched in horror as alternate versions of Earth winked out of existence one by one. "Now," Alternate Rees shouted. Chen and Zara nodded in unison, their earlier animosity forgotten in the face of cosmic annihilation. They activated the quantum entanglement devices on their respective ships, creating a stabilizing field that pushed back against Omega's encroaching nothingness. "You think your primitive technology can stop the inevitable?" Omega laughed, the sound shaking the foundations of reality itself. Alternate Rees stepped forward, his eyes blazing with determination. "It's not just technology," he declared. "It's the combined will of every sentient being across the multiverse. We choose existence. We choose possibility. We choose hope." As he spoke, the quantum field around them began to pulse with new energy. Chen gasped as she felt minds brushing against her own, not just her crew, but countless versions of humanity across all timelines. She sensed Zara experiencing the same thing, with the Vardoxian hive mind, their collective consciousness expanding to encompass all possible iterations of their species. Omega roared in defiance, lashing out with tendrils of quantum energy that threatened to unravel their very existence. Chen felt timelines splitting and converging around her, the weight of infinite possibilities threatening to crush her mind. "Hold the line," she shouted, her voice carrying across realities. "Every choice, every decision, every version of ourselves, it all matters. We are the sum of all our possibilities." The battle raged across dimensions, each side drawing power from the infinite potential of the multiverse. Omega fought to impose its singular vision of perfection, while the allied forces of humanity and the Vardoxians struggled to preserve the beautiful chaos of infinite diversity. As the conflict reached its peak, a new presence made itself known. The quantum foam parted, revealing a being of pure light, Zephyr, the keeper of the quantum realm. "Enough," Zephyr's voice echoed through all of creation. "Omega, you have overstepped your bounds. These beings have proven themselves worthy of continued existence. Omega snarled, its form twisting in rage. You have no power over me, Keeper. I am the end of all things. No, Zephyr replied calmly. You are but one possibility among infinite others, and these mortals have chosen a different path. With a gesture, Zephyr unleashed a wave of quantum energy that engulfed Omega. The cosmic destroyer howled as it was broken apart, its infinite cells scattered across the multiverse, reduced to merely one potential future among countless others. As the quantum storm subsided, Chen, Zara, and alternate Rees found themselves standing in a realm of pure possibility. Zephyr approached them, its radiance dimmed to a manageable level. You have done well, the Keeper said. The multiverse is saved, though forever changed. The barriers between realities will be thinner now, the possibilities for connection and growth, infinite. Alternate Reeves stepped forward, his expression a mix of hope and uncertainty. What happens now? To us, to our timelines? Zephyr's form shimmered with what might have been a smile. That, Dr. Reeves, is up to you. All possibilities lie before you. Choose wisely. With a flash of quantum energy, the group found themselves back on the bridge of the Defiant, the Vardoxian ship alongside them. Earth hung in the view screen, beautiful and blue, but somehow different, changed. As the crew marveled at their return, Chen turned to Zara. The Vardoxian queen met her gaze, years of conflict and mistrust melting away in the face of their shared ordeal. We have a lot to discuss, Chen said softly. Zara nodded, her tentacles moving in a gesture of agreement. Indeed, Admiral, it seems our species have more in common than we ever imagined. As the ships began their approach to Earth, the crew knew that nothing would ever be the same. They had glimpsed the infinite possibilities of existence and now faced the monumental task of bridging the gap between humanity and the Vardoxians. The multiverse had been saved, but the real work was just beginning. In preserving all possibilities, they had opened the door to a future beyond imagination. Human and Vardoxian alike looked to the stars with new eyes, ready to embrace the infinite potential that lay before them. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning. Quantum diplomacy. As the CSS Defiant and the Vardoxian warship descended through Earth's atmosphere, the planet below seemed both familiar and alien. The quantum reshuffling had left its mark, subtle changes rippling across reality. Cities shimmered with a faint iridescence, the result of partially phased matter. The sky was a deeper shade of blue, streaked with auroras that danced even in broad daylight. Admiral Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her heart racing as they approached a landing site. A massive crowd had gathered, humans intermingling with others. Beings that seemed to flicker between human and alien forms, quantum echoes of paths not taken and choices unmade. It appears the thinning of dimensional barriers has had some unexpected consequences, Queen Zara observed, her four eyes taking in the scene with a mix of fascination and concern. Alternate Dr. Elias Reeves nodded grimly. The multiverse is healing itself, but the process is far from complete. Our worlds, our very species, are more intertwined than ever before. As the ships touched down, Chen took a deep breath. Well, she said, squaring her shoulders, let's go make history. Again. The moment they stepped onto the tarmac, they were engulfed in a cacophony of sounds, sights, and sensations. Reporters from every conceivable news outlet, some seemingly broadcasting across dimensions, jockeyed for position. Government officials, both human and Vardoxian, approached with a mix of awe and trepidation. But it was the ordinary citizens that truly caught Chen's attention. Humans stood side by side with Vardoxians, and beings that seemed to be both and neither. Children played, their forms shifting between species as they laughed. It was beautiful, terrifying, and utterly unprecedented. A figure pushed through the crowd, and Chen felt her breath catch. It was her. Another Sarah Chen, but one who had never joined the military. This alternate self wore the robes of a diplomat, her bearing just as confident, but in a wholly different way. "Welcome home," Diplomat Chen said, her voice thick with emotion. "We have a lot to discuss." Over the next few hours, in a hastily convened summit of human and Vardoxian leaders, the full scope of the changes became clear. The quantum entanglement had not just saved reality, it had fundamentally altered it. Humanity and the Vardoxians found themselves linked in ways no one had anticipated. "We're calling it quantum empathy," a leading xenobiologist explained, her own form flickering occasionally between human and Vardoxian. "The barrier between our species has become permeable. We can experience each other's thoughts, feelings, even physical sensations to a degree." Queen Zara, her regal bearing somewhat diminished by the wonder in her eyes, addressed the assembly. "For eons the Vardoxian Empire sought to conquer, to impose our will upon the galaxy. We saw other species as lesser, as threats to be eliminated. But now," she paused, her tentacles writhing with emotion, "now we understand. The infinite diversity of life is not a weakness to be purged, but a strength to be cherished." Admiral Chen stepped forward, standing shoulder to tentacle with the Vardoxian queen. "We've been given a second chance," she declared, "not just to coexist, but to truly understand one another. The challenges ahead are immense, but so are the opportunities." As if to underscore her words, a shimmering portal opened in the center of the chamber. Zephyr, the keeper of the quantum realm, emerged, its radiant form dim to avoid overwhelming mortal senses. "You stand at a crossroads," Zephyr intoned, its voice resonating across dimensions. "The multiverse has been preserved, but at a cost. The boundaries between realities will remain thin for some time. You must learn to navigate this new existence, to balance the infinite possibilities without losing yourselves." The assembled leaders murmured among themselves, the implications slowly sinking in. Alternate Rees stepped forward, his eyes bright with the fire of scientific discovery. "We'll need to establish new protocols, new ways of thinking about identity and society itself. The very nature of what it means to be human, or Vardoxian, has changed." Diplomat Chen nodded, her expression thoughtful. "We'll need a new framework for interstellar law, one that accounts for quantum fluctuations and multidimensional citizenship." As the discussion continued, Admiral Chen found her gaze drawn to a window overlooking the city. The skyline was a mix of familiar structures and alien architecture, perfectly blended as if it had always been that way. In the streets below, humans and Vardoxians went about their lives, their forms occasionally blurring as quantum echoes rippled through reality. "It's beautiful," Queen Zara said softly, moving to stand beside her. "Terrifying, yes, but beautiful." Chen nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. "I never imagined our first contact would end like this. Enemies turned allies, turned whatever we are now." Zora's tentacles moved in a gesture Chen somehow recognized as wry amusement. The multiverse, it seems, has a sense of humor. As night fell, the sky blazed with new constellations, stars from other dimensions peeking through the thin veil of reality. Humanity and the Vardoxians stood united, gazing up at the infinite possibilities that stretched before them. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be fear, confusion, and conflict as both species adjusted to their new reality. But there would also be wonders beyond imagination, discoveries that would reshape the very foundations of science and philosophy. Admiral Sarah Chen, Queen Zara, and their counterparts across countless dimensions had saved existence itself. Now came the real challenge, forging a future where the infinite diversity of the multiverse could flourish in harmony. As the summit concluded and the work of building this new society began, Chen allowed herself a moment of quiet reflection. They had faced the end of all things and emerged victorious. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she knew that together they could face anything. The quantum age had dawned, and with it, a new chapter in the history of all sentient life. The adventure, it seemed, was only just beginning.